We're here with Brandon, Esports coordinator and head coach in New England Institute of Technology. Brandon, thank you so much for your time, and I'm happy to talk about your program.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. Just kind of expand like where New England Tech is kind of on the map. Get them a little more well known because we're kind of a pretty small college. Not a lot of people know who we are. Um, but yeah, super happy, excited. Um, kind of quick rundown of like who we are. We're a small college in Rhode Island, technical university, so like everything is super hands on. That's kind of like a big thing that attracts a lot of students to come here. Day one, your classes, you're in your field doing what you want. Big stuff that we offer is like, um, we have like automotive, cybersecurity, game design, nursing. Those are like kind of like the big ones where we get the most kind of traction of students. Um, and then through that, we because it's a technical school, we kind of saw how important gaming was to a lot of students. So we built our state of the art center on our main campus, where students come in with 14 computers, they come and hang out. Four switches, PS5, Xbox One X. Students just come in; it's all totally free for them. Come and hang out with people, play games, do whatever. Some students come in, they don't even play games. Um, it's a super cool space, and we're the only college in Rhode Island that has a space like that. So we kind of like one up people on that. We have two division winning teams currently. We have a Division three winning Rocket League team and a Division two winning Valorant team. And then our Smash team, we've been to a couple of invitationals that we've placed in a podium position for. So we're pretty new. We've only been going for about a year. And like having this kind of like success in about a year, I think is pretty big. Um, for us, kind of just starting out. Um, and the thing that I like the most about it is that you have like myself, and then like the two other coaches, where a lot of these schools, the higher ups, they don't want to like jump into it, so they're just like, all right, we got you these computers, make your team have at it, and it's just like a club. Um, and it's all student ran. They don't really get backing from the school, and it's like uh, I feel so bad for like stuff like that, because a lot of times it just falls apart because the students don't have the help that they need to kind of like keep going with this stuff. So I'm fortunate, like for myself and for my players, that like I can be there to support them and like help them get things that they like ordinarily wouldn't be able to get. Um, so that's kind of like the quick rundown of like the school. Going into fall, we have 37 esport athletes across 6 different games. Um, we're missing league for whatever reason. Uh, Nobody wants to play League of Legends at our college. I don't really know why. Um, but that's like kind of like the big one that we're missing. But other than that, we have like all the other like big stuff.
Yeah, some universities are even doubting about League of Legends. Like, shall we continue? Shall we invest more? There's
Yeah.
other video games, so it depends on the university and what their students want. Yeah, but so before we dive deeper into your program, can you explain like your journey into how you got to be an esports coordinator?
Ooh, all right. So I grew up. I started like I didn't have a computer till I was probably like 17 or 18. So I grew up playing like console. Like I had every Game Boy that came out. Um, and then when I was when I was like 7 or 8, I got an Xbox, and I had an older brother, so we got Halo One, and that was like the first console game I had. So I played like a ton of Halo. Halo Two came out. I was doing like game battles with my friends in high school, and that kind of like evolved. I wasn't always like super good at shooters. I wish I was better. Um, and after Halo Two, I played Halo Three, and then I played um, Modern Warfare Two on the Xbox, and that was where like um, I spent like most of my time, because all my friends from high school were playing Modern Warfare Two, and this was back in 2012. So I'd get home from school, we would like just have like a ton of like quick scoping lobbies, stuff like that. Um, and then I got a computer then, and I didn't have a game I was playing. I always played like RuneScape on the side. That was just like, for fun game. And then, one day I was like, all right, I'm going to try World of Warcraft. So I played WoW like super casually. Like I started Wrath of the Lich King. I played super casually through like Wrath and then Cataclysm and then Pandaria, Draenor. I did like, raids here and there, but it was never like anything like crazy. Um, and then in 2018, I started playing Legion when that came out. And that was where like, I kind of like took off. So the second to last raid was when I kind of like started playing a little bit like more seriously. I joined like a guild that was a lot more serious about the game, and this was for what was the name of the raid? I don't remember. It was the raid that had Kill Jaden in it. Tuma Sargeras, right? And so I just joined this like random guild, completely random. Like I never like did anything crazy before that, and we ended up killing that final boss, 39th in the U.S. And that was like where it like kind of clicked that like, all right, maybe like I am kind of good at this game. So I played with them for a while, and then I ended up going to this different guild for the next raid. It was the last one in Legion. It was called Antorus the Burning Throne, and that was like when I peaked. So I played that, and the class I played in WoW was called Balanced Druid. And in WoW, they have a system when you raid where you can like record like the damage meter, and then you can upload it to this website called Warcraft Logs. And that's like how people gauge if you're good or not at the game. And I don't know what it was, but I was really good at playing Moonkin, and I was getting like, I had like 4 like rank 1 logs like in the world where like I had the highest damage of any person who played that class in the world. So that was where I was like, all right, maybe like I am kind of good like at this game. So I did that a lot. My Warcraft logs page was like crazy stacked. I was like top 20 in the world for my class. And then 2019, I went to BlizzCon, and I was there. I had friends who were like also like really good at the game. The people I was staying with, they were competing in the Mythic Dungeon Invitational. One of them was like the best mage in the world. So like I knew these like people through, like being good at WoW, and we just kind of like met up through doing things together in game, and then we went to BlizzCon together. And when I went to some like parties and stuff with them, and like people knew who I was from like my Warcraft logs page. Like people I never talked to ever before. These people who were like kind of like figureheads in like the WoW community, like they knew who I was from my like character name for seeing how much damage I was doing on the class. So that was like this like crazy weird dynamic, and it was like my like kind of first experience with like, I'm at the point where like I'm so good at this game that people just like know who I am because they see my name everywhere. So that kind of evolved, and that at that time I was going to school, and after that, like some of the people I met when I was at BlizzCon, they were like, I want you to join my guild. So when I went into fall of 19, the new expansion came out. It was Battle for Azeroth. And I went into that first raid. I joined this new guild. It was called Blood Legion. And Blood Legion is like this like super well-known guild. Like, they have like a couple world first kills in like Pandaria. And I raided in that. And I wasn't playing Moonkin. I played a different class. I picked up Warlock because Moonkin was like really bad at the start of Battle for Azeroth. So I was like, if I'm going to join this like really high level guild, like I need to be able to play whatever. So I played Warlock, and I was pretty good at Warlock too. So that kind of worked in my favor. And so I joined that guild, and we killed that final boss was called Gahoon, and we got US 17th for that. So that was like kind of like my peak. Most people who like talk about being good at WoW, they're usually in like, I don't know, a top like 200 300 US guild. And, I was rating like 16 hours a week, like 10 to 2, 4 days, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., 4 days a week. And, that was like my first like taste of like, like I would call like bleeding edge, like rating in WoW, where, kind of the next level above that is like doing like the race to world first stuff, where it's like, you're rating like, during the day for like, 8 or 9 hours in a row, like consecutive days. And I did that. I did the 10 to 2 a.m. through most of college. I took a break like during COVID because I just kind of wanted to focus on, on that time. Um, and then, Shadowlands came out and I was like, this game kind of sucks, man. So I took a step back for a while. I kind of played like sporadically. I joined at the end of Shadowlands. Was it Battle for Azeroth? No, it was Battle for Azeroth. The end of Battle. I took a break after I joined Blood Legion. And then I joined the best 2-day guild in the state, or I think the world, honestly. And we rated like 8 hours a week. And I got another like US 39th. Like that's where we finished. And it was like funny because like we're this 8-hour rating guild who's beating these like 16-hour rating guilds. So like the caliber of player in that guild was like higher than a lot of what I was used to. So I like kind of had to like play like, better than I normally was. So I think that was like a pretty good test of, where I was. And then, through that is kind of how I, got into esports. Like I always like, I played League like casually, kind of like forever. And like I was always interested in watching League, watching like professional gaming. And I went to school for game design to learn like how to make games because it kind of just made sense. And then I met like connections at the school that kind of branched out, and that's how I ended up getting this job. Where the connections I made, they were like, oh, like the school's hiring for like this, like you should totally apply. So I applied, I went through my interview process. They ended up picking me. I think they were going to pick me, honestly. They told me they had like 40, 50 applicants. So I'm like super fortunate that, I got this and came back up. And, a big piece of what I do, especially because like, I'm head coach, is that I spend a lot more time with the players doing like mental things. I don't know everything about every game. So I can't always help all my players with their game specific things, but I can help them with the more universal thing of like, not tilting, making sure you're staying focused, not being distracted by like outside things, not letting the other team get to you, stuff like that. And that is like, that's why that we won Valorant, because there were so many games where like my guys they'd lose the round and then they would lose their eco round after. And they would just like kind of tilt. And then I would be there and I'm just like, do like a timeout. And I give them like a minute and a half pep talk. And then like they win the next 4 rounds. And it's like, that happened probably like, I don't know, probably like half of our games. And then I brought in, like, we had a wellness coach who I brought in, and like, they all went through that, and that helped them a lot too. Kind of like focusing themselves, grounding themselves in like their game. And like all of them, I had all of them come up and tell me, like, if you didn't do that stuff, we wouldn't have won any of those games. So I look at that as like more of like my like coaching position, at least where I am right now. Because we don't offer all the games that I'm super familiar with. So I've kind of molded my strategy to be fit towards the more overall, where I can help everyone instead of just I still focus on like one game primarily, but doing this lets me help every single person instead of just being like, I don't know anything about your game, so I can't help you with it, but I can do this to help you with your person while you're playing the game. So I think that's something that I help my students with, that they give me good feedback about and say that like I help them, that I really help them when they're through that, and it gets them to win their games that they ordinarily would be losing because they just kind of check out.
And what would be like like on a week by week basis, what we like an every day in the week, like the practice schedule. Like
Yeah.
one day you scream, one day you do barbecue. Like
Yeah.
how would be the
Yeah.
structure?
So our two like main teams that we have, like my main Valorant team and my main Overwatch team, we're going in to 2 games per week now. So prior it was we only were in one conference, and now we joined a second one. So now the way it's set up is you have games twice a week, and then you have practice twice a week, and then on top we do one day of VOD review. So what most of them do is they'll pick a day to practice before the game or VOD review before the game. So they'll do, practice, and then game, and then they'll do a day with just the game, and then they'll do a day of practice, and then we'll do a day for like VOD review. And it's split now where it's like half the practices are half at home and then half in person because I have to try to schedule all these students, and sometimes it lies on a day where I have like right now, like it's funny because Valorant and Overwatch have like opposite schedules. So Valorant plays Monday, Tuesday, Overwatch plays Wednesday, Thursday, but Overwatch practices on Monday and Valorant practices on Thursday. So the times when they're practicing, the other team is in the center using the computers, so they have to practice from home. So that's like the first time we have that kind of dynamic where all the computers in the space and the center are being used up. But yeah, I mean, in total per week, they're probably playing their game. I'd say like I don't know, 12 hours in that ballpark, depending how long some of the games are. We've had some games. Best of three is like 3 hours. But normally it's 2 to 3 hour practice slots. Each your 2 games, and then like an hour or two of VOD review. Nothing too crazy. VOD review we keep like super like laid back. We go to like a conference room. I'll get like pizza every once in a while. Kind of just they come in, just kind of hang out. And we just like kind of talk. They seem to like it a lot. They always ask for it. Just kind of because like in hindsight you can be like I wish I did this, but then when you like go in and kind of watch it, you're like people are always like, why did I do this? Like that was such a bad decision. So they all love doing it. It's super helpful, and it's really helpful with our Smash players too. And my coach will go in. His tag is Craftus, and Craftus will go through their game, and he'll go like frame by frame. And like I said earlier, he'll be like, all right, right here at this exact frame, when he down tilted you, you DI'd out, and that's why you lost your entire stock. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yes, he moved this way too far, so now he's dead. And I'm, it's so cool that kind of be able to watch him, talk like that. Whereas like I'm on the outside and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. They use all these like terms like DISDI, IDJ, stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm glad I hired this guy, but that's like the quick rundown of kind of how that all works. At least with us, probably like 12 hours total a week. And then if they want to play more alone, not in scheduled time, they usually do that. I suggest them to. They don't have to. But that's kind of like the quick rundown of their weekly schedule.
That's right. And basically, like, how they combine it with academics, and when they have to compete or travel, and they have an exam or presentation same day, how does that dynamic between the professor and the player work?
Yeah. So what we have like established is if there is an event on the same day or like same time slot that they would have a class. Usually it happens for like nationals, playoffs, or like a LAN event. I can give them an excused absence from the class. So the student reaches out to the professor, be like, "Hey, I have this esports event on this day. You know, like, can I miss class?" And well, I'm gonna miss class. And then I email the professor, be like, "Hey, like, this student plays on this team. We have this event that we are going to. I'm asking you to excuse them from class." And then they get an excuse absence, which doesn't go against their tardy record. And then any work that they miss, they can make it up on a different day. So if they have a test or whatever, they can schedule a makeup test. They don't get penalized at all for it, which I'm super happy for because it's happened in the past um, where we had to do that. And all the teachers here are at the school are like super laid back. None of them are like pretty stubborn or anything. They're usually like we get it, like go play your game, and they're usually like really happy. They're like, oh, like you're playing for this game that's super cool. So they'll like they're like, hey, go ahead, play your game. Worry about the test whenever. But it's also like on the student to take care of that. I'm not solely going to do that. I'll send an email after like they tell me that they talked to their teacher about it, just to kind of um, like reiterate that like this is happening, because I don't want to be like the first person to reach out and like talk for the student. Like the student should reach out first. But yeah, if anything happens like that, we do have that policy in place, so students like aren't going to get penalized for anything like that.
That's great, Brandon. And just to wrap this up, can you tell the students, like international students, like where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so on social media, all of New England Tech's esports stuff is our tag is NE Tech Tigers. So NETECHTIGERS. It's mainly like Instagram, Twitter. We're gonna pick up TikTok in the fall, um, and then through that you can find. I think our Discord is linked somewhere in there. And then my tag on Discord is Adept and then QT at the end. So ADEPTQT at the end. People, anytime I talk to someone through email, I'm like, you can just talk on Discord if you want because it's faster. People always reply faster. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty open. I respond pretty quickly to most things, unless it's the weekend, then it might be, a little tight. But yeah, I just kind of want to make put New England Tech on the radar, kind of make them more well known. And we're getting there. And I'm just hoping that we keep going the way that we're going, and we kind of blow up. And we're already, I'd say, like the esports school in Rhode Island. So I'm just hoping that it becomes that, and people just start pouring in and want to play esports here.
Thanks, Brandon, for your time, and I'm stay in touch.
All right, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was a good time.